Welcome to another session of Coffee O'Clock. And I am the host, Akash Kundu, and I am a PhD student of Institute of Theoretical and Applied Informatics, Police Academy of Science, first year student. And today we have Ritojit Mujumdar as our guest speaker. So he's going to speak about quantum approximate optimization algorithm, its applications, and some other stuff. And yeah, we are very glad to have him here. And to give you a brief, like a short background about Ritojit, he did his, he completed his BSc in physics and also BTech in computer science and technology from University of Calcutta. And then he also did MTech after that from University of Calcutta. And um, from his background, whatever I got, he was a very good student, of course, and he still is. And he's, I think he's a fourth year PhD student, right, Ritojit? Uh,
No, actually third year.
or third year. Okay, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so he is a third year PhD student at Indian Statistical Institute. And so, welcome, Ritojit. And please start your talk.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm not sure how. Okay, I need some permission to share screen.
Ritojit, in bottom you can see, right? Like next to chat, there should be an option for you to share the
Yeah,
screen.
but it basically shows host disabled participant screen sharing.
Yes, Akash. Even I am also getting the same stuff. I guess that you have to
Hmm.
enable for.
Yes. Good. Okay. So thank you so much for the introduction. And right, I am still a student, and all I am doing is trying to learn. And thank you so much, Q India, for inviting me to give this presentation here. And I am not really here to give a talk or something like that. I have just been studying this QAOA recently, and I'd like to just share with you what I have been studying, what I have learned, whatever little I have been able to learn. So uh, in general, people actually say that you should start a talk with a joke, but anyway, we have very little time, and I couldn't really figure out what joke to start with. But then, when we were waiting, I could recall about something called Murphy's Law, and we were like facing Murphy's Law. It says that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So we were facing something like that. So let's not waste time there, and let's start with this. So the way I have thought about going through this presentation is that we will give a short introduction to QAOA. How does QAOA comes from this quantum adiabatic algorithm, and talk about QAOA for max cut, which is like the most studied in the literature, and then some recent aspects of QAOA that we have been studying, and others have been studying as well, and some prospects and some challenges from there. So let's start with this. And as maybe you all know, that QAOA is kind of a variational algorithm, or it's a hybrid quantum classical algorithm that aims to give some, maybe some quantum advantage in near term devices, quantum devices. We still do not have any proof of that it will provide any it will provide any advantage or not, but we are hopeful that it will. So the idea basically comes from something called quantum adiabatic algorithm. The idea is that suppose you want to solve a problem P. So this problem can be a physics problem, many body problem. It can be a chemistry problem like interaction, molecular interaction. It can be a genetical problem, or in computer science. I am right now in the background of computer science. In computer science, it can be some combinatorial optimization problem, which are really difficult to solve, like the traveling salesman problem, this max cut problem, minimum vertex cover problem, and there are so many problems like this. So the idea is that if you can somehow, how to do that, we will see an example later, but if you can somehow encode the problem in a Hamiltonian HP.
Gue itu taruh mau mobile malah may conversion at bandingnya.
So we have a problem P, and we want
Sorry for
to,
interruption, Ritojit.
yeah.
Excuse me, guys. There is some somebody's microphone is on. Can you please shut it down? mute it. Yeah, please continue, Ritajan. Sorry.
Thanks. Yeah. So if we have a problem P that we can somehow encode in a Hamiltonian HP, then the promise is that the ground state of this Hamiltonian will give us the solution to the problem. But obviously it is not so easy as it sounds in this one sentence, because otherwise we would have solved everything, right? So some of these problems which are difficult to solve in classical computers, they are the quantum analog. It is difficult to prepare the ground state for those Hamiltonians as well. So the solution, what can be the solution? It says that you start with some other Hamiltonian whose ground state is easy to prepare. For example, take this. It is basically Hadamard gate acted on all 0 qubits. So this is easy to prepare, just a depth 1 circuit. You just apply Hadamard gates. So things like this, you start with some Hamiltonian of this form, and then you create a time dependent Hamiltonian which slowly moves from HB, which is this simple Hamiltonian, to HP, which is our problem Hamiltonian. And this time capital T goes from 0 to small t. And you see, when capital T is 0, it is HB, and when capital T becomes small t, it is HP. So the promise of this algorithm is that if you do this slowly enough and you start with the ground state of HP, you will settle down in the ground state of HP, and that gives you the solution to the problem. But the question is how slow? And here lies the catch, is that it says that suppose for all time you can find out the ground energy and the first excited state, the energy of the first excited state, all those E0 and E1. The first thing is that it should be greater than 0 for all these values. Otherwise, this adiabatic theorem won't work at all. But if it is greater than 0, then for all time t, you find out the minimum of this difference, and your time should be proportional to the square of its inverse. Now, already it sounds quite complicated, and it is indeed, because it is quite difficult, if not impossible, to find analytically this thing, this minimum of all this energy difference. And even if you can find sometimes for NP-hard problems, which are like these combinatorial optimization problems, which are difficult to solve, it turns out that the time scales like order of 2 to the power n, exponential. So it is not like it is giving anything better. But yet there is this algorithm. Now the problem here is, when we think of quantum computation, we think of some qubits, we think of some gates applied to those, and then we do some measurement. But this is something quite different. You are starting with a Hamiltonian, evolving it. So it's a continuous process, pretty different from our traditional quantum computation, the way we think about it. So the idea is that given this continuous trajectory, you would like to break it down into discrete steps, and that will be QAOA. So how to do that? Let's take a simple example. Those of you who have taken like classes in computer science or electrical engineering, you must have gone through something called analog to digital conversion. So just now I am talking right now, this is an analog signal, but the signal that is transmitted through the channel, that is a digital signal. So this analog signal of my voice should be somehow transformed to digital signals. How is it done? So this analog signal is a continuous signal. You do some sampling. So you take some points, and at those points you find out the amplitude. And then you like discretely break this signal into those points, and depending on the value of the amplitude, you give it some values and then convert it to bit. That is the simple thing. So obviously one thing you can understand, if you take one sampling here and one sampling here only, that is a very bad approximation. And ideally, if you can sample at infinitely many points, you actually recreate the analog signal. That is also not possible, but theoretically speaking, you recreate the original analog signal. So here we have such a continuous trajectory, and to break it down, we will use two unitary operators. First is this UHB gamma. HP is the problem Hamiltonian, and UHB beta. HB is the simple Hamiltonian that we will start from. And these gammas and betas, they are like parameters that will change, and we will see how it will change. Now, if you have these two operators and apply them one after another, first this, then this, what happens is it basically breaks down this continuous thing into discrete steps. So this is for p equal to 1. So p is how many times you are operating these two taken together. So one step means this followed by this. That is the single step. And you can think of that like this gamma and beta, they kind of give you the length of this line, kind of, not exact, but you can think of it that way. So if you break it down in one step, obviously the approximation will not be good. So you see from this drawing, it is pretty far away from the actual state, and that is expected. But if you now go to p equal to 2, it should come closer. If you go to p equal to 3, it will even come closer. And as we discussed for analog digital conversion, if you can take p to infinity, then QAOA becomes equivalent to quantum adiabatic algorithm, QAA. So this is the high level philosophy of QAOA, how QAOA comes, why QAOA works. Because when we start studying about QAOA, it seems like a magic. It gives you some operators and you just apply it and it works. So this is the reason why it works. So the algorithm is something like this. So recall, this is a hybrid quantum classical algorithm. So some part will be processed in a quantum processing unit and some part will be processed in a classical processing unit. So you initialize two p parameters. So there were two parameters like beta and gamma. And if you have p steps, you have p many betas and p many gammas. So there are two p parameters, and you start with the initial state, which is the equal superposition, and then you construct this state, like alternatively applying these two operators. You measure it. Now you repeat this multiple times. You create this, measure it, create this, measure it. So if you repeat it many times, you can easily get an expectation value of the outcome. So this is the expectation value. Once you have that, you give it to a classical optimizer. The classical optimizer will tell you a better set of beta and gamma that will further maximize this or minimize this according to your problem. And then with that new set of gamma and beta, you kind of start again from this step 2 and go on. So you, if you do this polynomially many times, then expected that you will get a good approximate solution. So the idea this Farhi told in this QAOA was first proposed by Edward Farhi from MIT, and he is also in Google. So the idea, he said that maybe when we think about Shor algorithm, when we think about Grover's algorithm, we are trying to outperform classical algorithm in a very different way. Like it's entirely quantum and it is going to give you the best solution possible. So why not think about something that will not give me the best solution, but give me a good enough solution? So can we make this good enough slightly better using quantum? So this is the idea of QAOA, and in most variational algorithms, that is the idea. So if this is fine, then let's move to the particular problem that is widely studied in the literature, that is the max cut problem. What is the max cut problem? It says that you have a graph G equal to VE, and you need to partition the vertices into two sets. So let's say this black is one set and white is another set. Now you need to make the partition such that the number of edges crossing from a black vertex to a white vertex is maximized. This is the problem. And this is an NP-hard problem. Those of you who don't know about this term, NP-hard, you can think of it, if it is an NP-hard, you should like give up, almost you should give up hoping that you will have a polynomial time algorithm for solving it. So it is an NP-hard, but most importantly, it is also an APX-hard problem. What does that mean? That means if you want to have an approximate solution, so maybe you cannot reach the best solution, but you want to go as close as possible. So if you have an approximate solution, there is still no polynomial time algorithm that will get your solution arbitrarily close to the best solution. This is what is meant by it is APX hard. So it is one of the toughest problem, even if you want to find approximate solution. And there is this algorithm called GW, Goman-Williamson algorithm, that gives an approximation ratio of this 0.878. Now, how do we take this problem to this quantum domain? We have the same problem. We say that with each vertex, you associate a qubit. And the property of the qubit will be such that if the vertex is in partition A, the qubit will be 0. If it is in partition B, the qubit will be 1. So if you consider this Pauli Z operator, what will happen? this Pauli Z acting on 0 will give a +1 eigenvalue, Pauli Z acting on 1 will give a -1 eigenvalue. Now for each edge, an edge comprises of two vertices, think of this associated operator. So what does this operator mean? Consider an edge such that both the vertices are in the same partition. So we don't want such an edge. We would like the cut to go through that edge. We want to maximize the cut, right? But if they are in the same partition, so either they are both 0 or they are both 1. Anyway, if you apply this sigma z, the product will be always +1 and 1 minus 1 will give you 0. So for all of those type of edges, this particular Hamiltonian will not contribute anything. But if you have such an edge where this u is in one partition and v is in another partition, then one of this will be +1, the other will be -1, the product will be -1, there is a minus, it will add up to 2, and this half is a normalization, so it will contribute 1. So for every edge which is a part of the cut, it contributes 1, and for every other edge it is contributing 0. Now the idea is you want to have an like assignment of these zeros and ones such that the summation over all of this is maximized, and that is our problem Hamiltonian. This is how you encode this max cut problem into a Hamiltonian. So this is, hopefully this is clear, and then we can move ahead. So this is basically the circuit of this. So you initialize first, if you recall, you first want to initialize, and that is basically the equal superposition. So only two Hadamard gates. And then you have this UHP gamma, which is actually implemented using a C0, RZ and a C0. And you have this HP beta, which is implemented by RX gates. So this is for P equal to 1. If you have P equal to 2, this blue square is repeated. As many your value of P, this blue square will be repeated sequentially. Now, what Farhi showed is that for P equal to 1 and for 3 regular graphs, the approximation ratio is 0.692. So this is already better than random guessing. If you just randomly guess, then the approximation ratio is expected to be half, 0.5, but this is pretty good, better than that. And he also showed that if you keep on increasing the value of P from 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe some function of n, some polynomial function of n, then this expectation value, which will give you the approximation ratio. So the approximation ratio is basically your expectation value divided by the best possible cut size. This expectation value is a non-decreasing function. So it will keep on increasing, at least it will not decrease as you increase P. So you will only get better, you cannot get worse. So this is what he showed. But obviously for higher P, it becomes very difficult to analyze it. So they couldn't, and till now there are not many papers who have been analyzing it for higher values of P. But there is a recent result in, I guess, last 2 years back from Google, who showed that they have implemented the QAOA in their quantum computer, and the performance decreases beyond P equal to 3. If you go to P equal to 4, you actually get a worse result. So what is happening? I am like, these two sentences are contradicting each other. So here comes like other directions of research in QAOA, and obviously you can understand that noise is the culprit. Noise in the machine is something that is overcoming when you are going beyond P equal to 3. So how can you eliminate or try to mitigate the noise? Obviously there are some error mitigation techniques that have been proposed, but I'll not go into that because they are not really, as far as I have read, they are not really for QAOA particularly. They are mainly for variational algorithms, can be applied to many algorithms. So I'll not go into that. But I want to discuss two things. First is that there are two type of things that we discussed: the problem Hamiltonian HP and the mixer Hamiltonian HB. Can we tweak both of these and try to find some, change the perturb the circuit in such a way that the noise is reduced? So let's come to the first one. This is basically our recent work. It has been in arXiv a few days back. There are two protocols that we suggested, but I like to go through only one of them that is giving us a better result. So suppose you have some graph. So we are not sticking to 3 regular or anything. You have some graph, random graph, and you do a depth first search on that. So what does a depth first search mean? You start with a vertex. So I don't know, when I tried to draw it in Network X, the orientation changed. I am not sure why, but the graphs are same actually. So if you start with one vertex, you want to design a tree. So you go as long as you can, and when you can't, you backtrack. But at least for this example, there is no need to backtrack. You are finding this depth first search. This is called a depth first search, or DFS, and it forms a tree inside the graph. So these colored edges are a part of the DFS tree, and these black edges are not. Once you have the depth first search tree, you would want to design the circuit in that way. So the first, it goes from 0 to 3. So the first thing, this C naught RZ C naught, you see it goes from Q0 to Q3. Then 3 to 4, 3 to 4. Then 4 to 2, 4 to 2, that way. And in this particular case, you cannot really exchange or interchange the control and target of the CNOT gate. This is a restriction that is imposed here. In original QAOA, it doesn't really matter which one is the control and which one is the target, because anyway it is symmetric. So this is how you design it. So this part, this barrier portion, this is the circuit corresponding to the DFS tree, and remaining everything is the remaining portion. You can arrange it in any way you want. And what we showed is that if you do things like this, for this DFS portion, you can remove this first CNOT gate always. This we have proved. So this circuit suddenly becomes smaller with n-1 CNOT gates reduced. So in any graph with n vertices, if you draw a tree for n vertices, there will be n-1 edges. And for all of those edges, we can remove a single CNOT gate. So n-1 CNOT gates are reduced. And CNOT gates, as you know, are like extremely noisy. They are like 100 times more noisy than other single qubit gates. So reducing CNOT is extremely important. And we can show that in result as well. So I didn't talk about the edge coloring technique that we proposed, but as I said, you can see that the performance of DFS based technique, which is this red colored plot, is usually better than the edge coloring technique blue, and which is again better than the traditional QAOA technique, which is green. So if you do these optimizations, and these are polynomial time preprocessing optimizations, you can get lower noise in your circuit. This was for problem Hamiltonian. You can tweak the mixer Hamiltonian as well. So this was suggested by a paper called Adapt QAOA. They said that this is the mixer Hamiltonian, the HB. This is the actual way you write HB for QAOA. But they suggested that what if we take other mixers as well? So here you have this P single, which says that you can either choose Xi, X, that is sigma X, the Pauli X operator, or Pauli Y operator as your mixer. And for each qubit, you can choose whether you want to select X or you want to select Y. And that is, they have called P single. And in P multi, what they said is that you choose 2 qubits, and on those qubits, you want to apply this kind of Hamiltonian, where this can be, these two are basically Pauli operators. And P multi actually takes this multi-qubit gates as well as the single qubit, this multi-qubit Hamiltonians as well as the single qubit Hamiltonians. So it is union of P single. And they said that which of these would you want to select? So there you now have a pool of mixers. Which mixer would you like to select for your next step? They said that you, for each of the mixer AJ, you find out this gradient. Once you find out this gradient, you choose that mixer which maximizes the gradient. And if you do that, this is their result. So it is not talking anything about noise, but it says that if you want to reach a particular result, so this Adapt QAOA gives in a particular P, the Adapt QAOA reaches much closer to the result than original QAOA. So it is like an exponential increase in the performance. So anyway, if you are thinking about a particular performance guarantee, then if you use Adapt QAOA, the number of layers you want to execute will be reduced, and hence it is easier to actually implement in noisy circuits. But there is one thing that I found a bit troubling in this particular paper, is that when you are going to find this particular gradient for each mixer, there are order of n square mixers, and for each of them you will need to run the circuit multiple times, and this is for each layer. So if I recall well, I hope I am correct, to find out the expectation value more or less good, you need around order of n square measurements, and then again you have order of n square mixers. So for each layer you are kind of having an order of n to the power 4 overhead if you are selecting this, but anyway it is giving a better result. Now the point last point that I would really want to emphasize here, for till now we are talking about this p, how many times you are like implementing the quantum circuit, but any variational algorithm is not only about the quantum processing unit, it is also about the classical processing unit. And this is the last thing that I want to talk about. The time complexity of QAOA is not just p. When we talk about its complexity, we always say it is how much p you need, how many steps you need. But what about the classical optimizer? And here is a result that appeared a few years back, and it's quite interesting. It shows that if you have this, when the number of qubits are increasing, it is the classical optimizer that is taking a significantly like large time. And this blue line, this AK max set, this is the classical set solver. So you see, you can actually solve the problem using a classical set solver faster than you can do it using QAOA. So you can check out this paper. It is like has already got a lots of references that there can be a bit of problem with this QAOA. The absolute time, we are talking about this order, always the order might be nice, but the absolute time may not be so nice. And there are like two solutions that I want to mention. I'm sure there are other solutions as well, there are indeed, but these two solutions actually caught my eye. The first is that you use machine learning. So you when you are in lower depth for lower values of p, you exhaustively find out the optimal parameters, and then with those you try to predict what is a good parameter for higher values of p, and you start your classical optimizer from those values. They will converge faster. Instead of starting the classical parameters in some random values, you start with those values and it will converge faster. And the author showed that an average speed up of 45% was attained, and in certain cases they got nearly 68% speed up or things like that. And this is a very recent paper, I think it is not even 1 month old, by this Jacob Biomonti group in Russia. They showed that the optimal parameters of QAOA concentrate. It kinds of validates this. What is the machine learning actually here? It is learning this concentration. It says that for a particular problem, if you take an n qubit instance and an n plus 1 qubit instance, and these are like the optimal parameters for both of those, then these optimal parameters are polynomially close to each other. So leave this mathematical symbols. What this mean? This has been shown numerically in many papers as well, that you can actually exhaustively search for a smaller graph and transfer those parameters to larger graph without a significant loss in performance. And this is something very, very nice about QAOA, because you can, for larger values of n, for larger graphs, it is there when the classical optimizer starts taking too much time. As you can see that when we are increasing these values, it is there when the classical optimizer starts taking too much time. And if you can actually find out the optimal parameters for small values of n and use those for larger values, this problem of QAOA can be overcome. These are suggestions. And finally, the last thing to say, this is a significant problem of QAOA or most of the variational algorithms for quantum machine learning and others as well. Take this. So these are for all values of gamma beta. This is the cost function. And you see, if you start somewhere here, if your classical optimizer starts somewhere here where my mouse pointer is, So this is like a barren plateau. Your classical optimizer can move in any direction and it will not find anywhere to go because everywhere is the same cost function. It is going to miss out other locations which have better results. So this is a problem of barren plateau. And in this particular paper, they have used something called a global optimizer. This APOSM is a global optimizer. What it does is that it starts multiple local optimizers in different points, and these local optimizers can talk to each other via message passing. So if there is a particular optimizer which is local optimizer which is stuck here, then it can send a message that I have already found this particular value. It is around say 3. I have found this particular value of 3 and I have nowhere else to go. So maybe 3 is the optimum value. So any other optimizer that is running in parallel will not move in this direction. This is a way of using global optimizer by which you can, in most of the cases, avoid this situation. This is a situation that you don't want to fall into. But there has recently been a paper. This is not exactly for QAOA, this is for variational algorithms in general, but this is extremely important. And even these values are something I was trying out. This kind of verifies this paper. This is a paper by Patrick Cole's group. Uh, this is something called noise induced barren plateau. So if you can see the values, I hope they are not too small. So the highest value is 4 and the lowest value is 0.8. And for a graph with 4 vertices, and this is for only bit flip error, you see, and bit flip error I forgot, I think it is 0.01 probability or something like that. You see this maximum value has reduced to 3.4 and the minimum value has increased from 0.8 to 1.8. So it is kind of squishing the entire cost function, making it flatter. And this paper showed that this squishing or this flattening effect actually increases with the number of vertices. So if there is noise in the system, it will anyway start making the cost function heat map, the landscape of the cost function, flatter and flatter. And then there is no knowing whether even global optimizer or anyone will be able to overcome that and give us a good result. So yeah, that is all I wanted to say, and I think I went pretty fast. Lots of information I wanted to compress in very little time, but these are all very interesting to me. And just some take home messages. uh, what should we really look ahead to? The first thing that Farhi and Aram Harrow, I think they have shown, is that the probability distribution of the outcomes that is generated by QAOA at p equal to 1 cannot be efficiently sampled by a classical computer unless this p equal to np thing holds. Until now, we know there is no proof of that, and most of the scientists believe that p is not equal to np. So there is some quantumness in this, which is not really classical. You cannot really hope to find classical local optimizers or classical local algorithms that will overcome QAOA or match QAOA. So hopefully, as you increase p, things will get better, because there is some inherent quantumness which is different from classical here. Another thing is that this parameter concentration I talked about, and QAOA requires very few parameters, only 2 parameters per layer, and we can efficiently find out the optimal parameters. Yes, they take time, but then you can use this parameter concentration thing to find those out properly. So this makes QAOA stand out from other variational algorithms, these few parameters and the parameter concentration thing. But recently there has been also, it's not very recent, like 2-3 years back, there has been a result from IBM Watson by Bravi and all. They have shown that it is not possible to outperform classical algorithms for max cut using a constant p. The p should be at least greater than order of log n, but they have not actually shown how much greater than log n. Should it be like log n plus 1? Should it be n? Should it be n square? We don't know. But if you are using p less than log n, order of log n, then you cannot hope to outperform best classical algorithm. But this is a bit sad, but this is not really very sad, because even then there is still a lot of scope to increase p, still keeping it polynomial. But finally, QAOA has been studied for other problems as well, combinatorial optimization, this maximum independent set, minimum vertex cover, and there has been some other results like QAOA relating to Grover's algorithm and all of those things. But none of them, for this combinatorial optimization at least, none of them has been able to demonstrate quantum advantage yet. But still, the researchers and all of us, we are not like hopeless. We hope that as the uh, devices become better and better day by day, we will have more qubits, less noise in the systems, things will become good, and maybe QAOA and other variational algorithms will be able to demonstrate some quantum advantage, and hopefully that happens soon. So that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for tolerating me for this long. Yeah.
No, there is no tolerating, like the talk was very nice. It was very nice, honestly. I mean, actually there are many informations, but they are very relevant. I mean, they are very interesting.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of information packed in very small time.